here are jobs for visual thinkers. Things like industrial design, doing computer hardware. Okay, how do they put the golden globes on? You know what a regular old Hilton looks like? Plain Jane Hilton Hotel. And they got those rooms with the folding walls. Well, that golden globes was held in one of those rooms. After they transformed it, all the equipment that's in there portable. They cannot chop up the floor or hack up the walls. What do you think puts all this stuff up? Oh, it's Geekland. Those are great jobs for visual thinkers. I remember going and doing a talk somewhere, and this guy was very upset because I didn't want to wear this horrid mic that went on my ear. You know, he wanted me to wear it. Let me tell you, this guy, he was on the spectrum. Auto mechanic, fixing equipment, fixing computers, training animals, architecture, industrial design. It's a whole college major just in the kind of stuff that I do. How about our music and math minds, our pattern thinkers? These are your programmers, your engineers, your musicians, your statisticians, electronics technicians, chemists, math teachers. Well, what's happening to those people today? We need these people. Word thinkers, what would they be good at doing? Journalism jobs, special ed teachers, speech therapists, doing legal research, things in the law library, they'd be good at that. Accounting jobs, because they're really, really good at record keeping. We got to figure out what is the person good at doing. Because one of the things that drives me crazy is that most of the Aspergers on the high end of the spectrum, where are all the old Aspies? They're there. They're employed. And I think a lot of this has to do with a 50s upbringing. I went to school with a guy who's been employed all his life in retail. He's underemployed, but he's held a decent job in retail for his entire life with good health insurance. You know, now I'm seeing him getting on welfare and stuff. There's not enough expectations for behavior. I see a smart 12-year-old, fully verbal, and this kid cannot order food at McDonald's. That's just ridiculous. Now, these are the sort of things. I learned how to do stuff like that when I was really young. I could go shopping by the time I was 7 or 8. I knew how to behave in a store because that stuff was taught. Another 12-year-old, very fully verbal. We stopped at a gas station. He goes in the convenience store and he throws merchandise on the floor. I wasn't allowed to do that. But I noticed something very interesting. He never touched the gas pump because the parents instinctively stopped that. You see, they put a limit on the gas pump, and they didn't even realize they'd done that. Then I go to their house, and Daddy had his special books out on the dining room table. He never messed with that stuff. See, a limit had been put on that, but they didn't realize it. But no, at dinner time, it was garbage in the salad bowl, locking us out of the house. I mean, just, you know, all kinds of, you know, really obnoxious behavior. They weren't putting a limit on that. And how about jobs, you know, bad jobs? There's problems with the working memory from multitasking. If I had to be a cashier in a busy restaurant with an old-fashioned cash register, I'd be in real trouble. I could handle Walmart. I could do the Walmart one. That's easy. I could do the scanner thing. But the ones where you have to make change, oh, terrible. And then let's think about jobs for people that are on, you know, the nonverbal end of the spectrum, or maybe just medium on the spectrum. A lot of them might be good doing things with lawn and garden work. We've got to start thinking about what can they do. We're not thinking about enough of these sort of things. And we've got to, you know, people ask me, where would you want to do research? One of the places where they really need to do research is on the sensory issues. Because sensory issues can be absolutely, totally debilitating. Just absolutely terrible. And I want to see them do research on that. I think I'm going to end right here. And I think we'll have time for a few questions. And now I'm going to have to get up to the Dulles airport.
Question, I wondered if sensitivities to chemical smells or different foods or cleaning products or pesticides, have you seen anything there?
The question concerns smells, sensitive to smells. There are some people on the autism spectrum that are very, very sensitive to smells. Again, these sensory things are variable. One will have visual problems. Another one is sensitive to hearing. And the thing is, these sensory issues are not just limited to autism. You can get them with dyslexia, ADHD, other learning problems. Then I get worried they're going to label all these kids oppositional defiant, which I think is a pile of rubbish. I mean, I'm trained in the neurosciences, and I have a hard time with when things deviate too much from neuroscience. You know, autism is definitely weird thing. But oppositional defiant, I think that's a boy that's just frustrated and maybe abused, and nobody's challenged him to do interesting things. Okay?
Do you feel like there are any specific causes of autism, such as toxins or things in the
Well, the question
environment?
concerned the toxins in the environment, causes of autism. It has a very big genetic basis, but it's a very complicated genetics. You're talking about tiny code variations in the DNA inside of genes. It's a true continuous trait. It's not, and there's different parts of autism. Speech delay, repetitive behavior, movement problems. These things probably have different, genetic patterns. It's very strongly genetic, but I think it's very possible that maybe some environmental insults that are getting in there and making it worse. Now the Asperger's, they've always been here. Because I can think of kids, I can think of people I've worked with in the meat industry, people I've seen out in Hollywood, people I've seen in Silicon Valley. I mean, I know they're on the spectrum. They've always been here. But I think there's some severe autism that's increased. There's some severe stuff that's increased. There was a study in UC Davis showed that people who live next to the highway where there's more pollution there was a higher incidence of autism. There's been some other clusters. There was a cluster around oil refineries and a cluster around the plastics plant.
Do you find that the medications in teenagers who have what's called raging issues, do you find that helps with their anxiety and their anger?
Well, they have raging. Okay, now you take what's called the atypical antipsychotics. That's drugs like risperidol, Abilify, and Seroquel. Right now, Abilify and Seroquel are the fad. Drugs go because they're still patented, and they want to sell them before the patents run out. Risperidol is the original atypical. It's off patent. It's probably one of the better ones, actually. There are some situations where you need to use those drugs. Older children and adults, and you've got rages you just can't control. But the thing is, very low doses. You see, because those drugs affect both the serotonin system and the dopamine system. And if you use a low dose, it only affects the serotonin system. It doesn't get into the dopamine system where it causes tardive dyskinesia. Sometimes a teeny dose, like 1/4 of a milligram a day, a little microscopic dose of risperidol can help with sound sensitivity. Sometimes that can't, but you want to use those drugs in very, very low doses. You don't use them for sleep aids. I think that's horrible. When I find out they're giving them out in Hollywood, sleep aids. I just want to scream. And you don't use them for fidgeting and for ADHD type of stuff.
You're very clearly a visual thinker. Do you feel that children on the spectrum are one type of thinker, or do you feel like they ever cross over into all areas?
Well, I show those 3 kinds of thinking.
Right.
Show the 3 kinds of thinking. Photorealistic, visual, cerebral and algebra. Pattern thinker, bad at reading, and more verbal and auditory thinkers. There can be mixtures of those. There can definitely be mixtures. But there's a tendency, a skill area and a deficit area. There's this uneven skills. That's shown up over and over. Okay?
You had these very, very interesting images of the brain scans with your brain in the control. Is that kind of assessment available to parents?
No, that wasn't even done in hospital. It's done in a research lab. Don't even think about that. No, that's not available. And the thing is, what's been found and the things that have been done on my brain, what's shown up clinically is now getting shown around. I had really high fear and almost anxiety to find out my amygdala, my fear center, right side 3 times bigger. They found that great big cable. But other people on the spectrum don't have that big cable because they're not a visual thinker. But you can just tell that in the education. If a kid likes art when he's in 4th grade, it's easy to tell if a kid's a visual thinker. The little mathematicians, if you give them half a chance, will be really good, but if you make them do baby math, they're going to turn into oppositional defiant. Well, you better let them get the high school math books. They can I'd recommend leaving them in the 4th grade, but bring the high school books in and let them study the high school books. And they may need some special ed reading.
Children, especially teenage children who are brilliant, autistic like you were, what do you wish they had done for you, or what do you think we should be doing today for those children? It's very depressing.
Well, we need to, one thing that was done with me is I had access to a lot of interesting things. And when I was not studying in high school, I was on the farm, you know, taking care of horses and things like that. I mean, you've got agriculture all around here, and those things make a lot of really good opportunities. See, there's not enough thinking about what is he going to do. When I was in college, Mother had me doing all kinds of internships. I worked in a research lab. I worked in a summer program for kids with autism and other disorders. I am seeing smart aspects graduating from college, and they have never even delivered a paper. They haven't walked a dog. They haven't fixed somebody's computer. They haven't worked at Pizza Hut. They haven't done any kind of job stuff. I think that's just atrocious. And we need to start thinking a lot more about what they're going to do when they grow up. And I'm appalled that they've taken all the hands-on classes out of the schools. Let's look at the economy in the world. It's not screwed up. Germany. It's the only country in Europe that doesn't have a messed up economy. You know, they got a lot of industry, you know, where they do a lot of fine machining work. Well, people like me would be good at doing that kind of stuff.
I just wanted to say, Ms. Grandin, I came to your talk in Richmond last April. My son is 13 and has Asperger's, and I was very frustrated with my situation. I heard you talk. I bought a lot of your information. I went back to the school. I told them everything I learned. I went back to my son, and I felt like, wow, I've had my aha moment. I gathered everything, went to his therapist,
And how's he doing now?
It's going to be a work all of his life, but we are doing much better. And
Well, good.
I thank you for coming out, giving these talks. I thank you for making such a huge difference in our lives, and I thank you for looking at my child now not as his problems, but with his potential.
Well, we've got to start good. I don't allow pictures during my talk, and I'll do a few pictures now and talk to a few people, and then I'm going to have to get off to the Marriott at Dulles.